Study confirms nitrate can draw uranium into groundwater. Taking a look at Nebraska today, the experiment reinforces the link between the contaminants. So what do they find? Now the University of Nebraska Lincoln Carries Weber and colleagues have experimentally confirmed that nitrate, a compound common in fertilizers and animal waste, can help transport naturally occurring uranium from groundwater from underground to groundwater. And the new research backs a 2015 Weber-led study showing the aquifers contaminated with high levels of nitrate, including the High Plains aquifer residing beneath Nebraska, contain uranium concentrations far exceeding the threshold set by the Environmental Protection Agency. And uranium concentrations above the A threshold have been shown to cause kidney damage in humans, especially when regularly consumed via drinking water. Most Nebraskans do rely on groundwater as drinking water, said Weber Associate Professor in the School of Biological Sciences, Development of Earth Atmospheric Sciences. In Lincoln, we rely on it. A lot of rural communities, they're relying on groundwater. So when you have high concentrations of uranium, that becomes a potential concern. Research had already been established that dissolved inorganic carbon could chemically detach traces of uranium from underground sediment, ultimately priming it to transport from groundwater. But the 2015 study, which found certain areas of the High Plains aquifer contained the uranium up to 89 times the EPA threshold, had convinced Weber that nitrate was contributing to it too. So it's not just one thing. We can see that actually uranium is being developed from nitrate. So what did they find? With the help of 12 colleagues, they set out to test the hypothesis. To do it, the team extracted 2 cylindrical cores of sediment, each roughly 2 inches wide and running 6 feet deep, from an aquifer site near Alda, Nebraska. That site not only contains the natural traces of uranium, but researchers knew, but also allows groundwater to flow east into the adjacent Plata River. That goal? Recreate the flow in samples of sediment, then determine whether adding some nitrate to the water would increase the amount of uranium that got carried away with it. One of the things we wanted to make sure of was that we did not alter the state of uranium or sediments into the microbial community. When we collected samples, Weber said, we did everything we could to preserve the natural conditions. Everything meant immediately capping the WAX sealing and extracted cores, sliding them into Artrite tubes, flushing them into tubes with argon gas to dispel oxygen, and putting them on ice. Back in the lab, Weber and 2 colleagues would eventually remove the 15 segments from each of the 2 cores. And then later the team would fill up multiple columns that would slip before pumping the simulated groundwater through roughly the same rate it would have traveled underground. And in some cases, the water contained nothing extra. In others, the researchers add nitrate, and still other cases, they both add nitrate and the inhibitor designed to halt the biochemical activity of the microorganisms in the sediment. And the water containing nitrate, but lacking the microbial inhibitor, managed to carry roughly 85% of the uranium compared to just 55% of the water lacked nitrate. And 60% were containing nitrate plus the inhibitor. Those results implicate both nitrate and microbes, further mobilizing in uranium. And they also support the hypothesis that the series of biochemical events kicked off by microbes was transforming otherwise solid uranium into a form that could be easily dissolved in the water. So very interesting expert, and they found out that nitrate actually can draw uranium into groundwater. So it's always a good idea to periodically test for both.